you have a serious problem of your right hand following everything your right foot
I
does.
know, but how do I fix it though?
Glad you asked. I've got just the exercise for you. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another lesson with SA Drama Academy. Today's one is so awesome. So I don't know if you ever watched the intro for this lesson, but basically what it is giving you independence on the right side. So important. So many of us battle with it or have battled with it. It is such a big thing. When you want to play extra kicks in between the hides, that hide hand just follows the whole time. It's super frustrating, and you just don't have that independence between the right side. And by having that hi-hat following every kick note, it gets pretty messy and your grooves just don't sound clean. So you want that right side independence. So for example, if you're playing an eighth note pattern, there's an eighth note hide groove, and now you want to add some E's and R's in the gaps, or you want to add some double kicks, the E and the and, whatever you're trying to do. If you don't have that right side, that hi-hat just follows all the kick notes. Not fun, super frustrating, and there's so many times where you just want to punch your leg, but I wouldn't advise that. So let's look at some exercises that you're going to use to break up that right side. I've used this with a lot of students. It is so effective. I had one student in particular. He had been playing for quite some time, nice drummer. One day he was jamming, he was doing some extra kicks and cool kick patterns, but that hi-hat was going crazy. So I gave him this exercise and I said to him, you have to get this right before we build on anything else, because we've got to get that separation. So before we jump into the actual exercise, we're going to unlock this counting system first. Really important. By doing the count first, you start feeling the E's and the O's. You start feeling those gaps. Once you can feel that, because essentially what you're doing is you're playing 16th notes over 8th notes. So you're playing an 8th note groove and you're adding in those kicks in the gaps. You're adding in 16th note kick drums over your 8th note groove. So what I like to tell my students is before they actually start putting in those kicks, is to unlock their counting first. So you can do this by clapping, which is pretty cool. So what you're going to do is you're going to clap 8th notes. 1 and 2 and, but now you're going to count the E's and the R's in between. 1 E and 2 E and if that makes sense. So by doing that, you're feeling the E's and the R's, you're feeling those gaps. When you get comfortable with counting, then you can try take an 8th note groove and do the same count. 1 E and 2 E and So you're just unlocking that ability to feel the E's and the R's. So give that a bash. Once you got that comfortable, we're going to start playing those kicks in the E's and the R's. And by having this little step down first, you're going to know where those E's and the R's are, and you're going to know how to play them. So the first step, you're going to have the kick on the quarter notes. On 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pretty simple. 4 on the floor groove. That is the first step. Get that down. That's going to feel pretty easy because your kick is playing with the hi-hats. But then when we start shifting it, the kick, that's where it's going to get interesting. So let's check out the first bar. Get that down first. All right, now it gets interesting. So this is where we start developing that ability to break that right foot away from the hi-hats. So now what you're going to do is you're going to shift that kick up a 16th note. So if you shift it up 1/16th note, it falls on the E. That's where it gets tricky, because now that E on the kick, you have to force away from the hi-hats, because the hi-hats are playing 1 and, so that kick's going to be 1 kick and. When you try this exercise, because you have that problem, it's going to follow. It's going to go 1 E, stop there, and just sit and try and break away from that kick following the hi-hat. So that's the first tricky step. So let's check that one out. Super slow. Don't worry about speed. And if you have to stop the video and go snail pace and just force that away and count it, counting is really important so you know where that E is. Just saying. So super slow, count the notes and just force that right hand away from the E on the kick. That is the next step. Let's check that one out. Okay, so now I don't know how it's going for you. I don't know if you're still struggling with that hi-hat, trying to play on the E's, but just sit with it, be patient with it, and don't worry about speed. Speed will come. Slow is key for now. The next step, now we're going to shift it up a 16th note again. So now the kick is going to fall on the and. So you hit on the 1, you shifted it up, went on the E. After the E becomes the and. Okay, now the last step. This is the kicks on the R's. Again, this is going to develop the independence. So on all the R's, you cannot have a hi-hat there. So 1, E, and kick. Again, you're going to force that kick off the hi-hats. If you feel that hi-hat is playing on the and following the kick, don't freak out. Just take your tempo down and sit with it and force that away. So 1, E, and kick. And even stop there if you need to. Just do that little repetition. So I really hope this helps. I'm really sure it will. My students have been proof that it has worked. Any student I've given this to, they've developed that right side independence. So I'm sure it is going to work for you as long as you sit and you practice it and you get it down. But until then, I will see you guys in the next lesson.